Good evening, Instagram. Peek out here in Singapore, and I'm excited because I get to bring back another friend of mine, Ebony Tutora of Queens Recognized Queens. And I've actually been on her podcast a couple times, and she's been on my podcast once before as well, back when I was doing it just on the on audio only. So this is the first time I've had her physically live, so you can actually see her beautiful face, and we get to talk to her a little bit about what she's been doing so far, where her business started, where it is right now. I see her right here getting ready to join us. She can take you through the process of a natural spiritual business. Hey, KBZ, what's going on, Kristen? It's a little cold in here, sorry, y'all. Ebony,
Hey.
how are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good. You feeling good today? It's early for you, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
9:45.
Okay.
9:45.
Did you get some good rest, though? For y'all,
You know,
those of you who don't know, she is ready to have this baby any second now, so I'm really excited I got to talk to her real quick before all that happened, so.
I know. So yeah, you just at this point in pregnancy, I have 11 days left. It's like the baby sleeps throughout the night. He's not kicking all night, so that's not the
Perfect. So
problem.
when he comes out, it's going to be perfect.
Yeah, it's just my size and how big that I am. And I think
You're just
yesterday
uncomfortable.
I stayed on one hip like all night, and so my hip is a little sore this morning, but it's all
Oh,
up my stairs, and I was like, you move pretty fast to be as do as you are, so I'm doing good. No
good,
complaints.
good. You're always, I mean, seriously, you're always smiling. You got three beautiful girls. You got a little boy that they get to bully or pamper, one or the other, both at the same time, whatever.
Probably right, depending on the circumstance.
It'll be fine. Either way, you got a tight-knit group of kids, so I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be
Love them.
perfect. So let's talk about you for a little bit. So the last time I spoke to you, it was only audio. I had you on Anchor, I think, and we just published it that way. But this time, I actually get to see your beautiful face, and everyone gets to get to know you and see your aura itself, and hear it in your voice, the way you actually speak about meditations and healing and all these things. You've come a long way from where your journey way back in the day started. You had a lot of stuff to live through. You've been healing the whole time, and now you're teaching other people to kind of heal through that as well. So let's talk about where your business started and then where it is now, if that's cool.
Yeah, the business really is twofold.
Hmm.
First fold is really just uh, Queens Recognized Queens came from the name was birthed out of moving back to my hometown and not
Okay.
feeling a connection of
Yeah.
support.
Hmm.
I had spent time living in New York after one of my life-altering situations, and I just met so many beautiful women that wanted to see me win, that would, put me on and give me tips, and like they really looked out for me. So
Yeah.
to come to a community where it was all about drinking and hanging out, I had a baby at that time, so I was
Yeah.
just like, no, I'm not doing that, and just really being able to break down, really coming to terms with what does it mean when a woman cannot recognize who I am, when she's catty, when she's putting other women down to feel
Right.
better.
Right.
So I just came up with that name, Queens Recognize Queens. My grandmother is like, I cannot explain to you how just her integrity level is like through the roof, to where she can't even use a coupon that's expired. Like she feels bad about that, which I'm like, you're not
Yeah.
for that. But
Thank
just
God
who,
for that generation.
yeah, I'm blessed to have a grandmother like that with just
Yeah.
high integrity, high values, and like she just was always someone in my life that I always looked up to. So the more that I went through things, she would
Hmm.
share with me like, okay, this is what you went through. Now you're at the age where I can tell you like this is what grandma went through. And it
Yeah.
made me who I am. And she just always sorry about that, you
It's
guys.
okay. It's all good.
Calls come. She was always a queen to me, and even as a kid and a teen, we would wave to each other like queens when we would leave each other.
Aw.
And she would always say, keep your chin up, your head high, your shoulders, like that's just how we addressed each other. So that was the
She
twofold
set the
part.
standard, huh?
Yeah, creating the brand and thinking like what makes a woman, and I kind of had her in mind, and just what makes me me, what makes me be who I am, and how do I want to see myself. And I feel like when you say queen, it's just you know, it just, even when you tell a little girl, like, you're a queen, they kind of just like,
They kind of
spit
perk up a
the,
little bit, don't they? Like, yes, me.
yeah, yeah, just that feeling and what comes with that, you know,
Yeah.
history of queens being just powerful women, you know. So that's twofold of how it started from a brand perspective. Obviously, I talk about healing, I talk about meditations, because those are the things that I had to use
Yeah.
to get to where I'm at today.
But I love that because everyone I've spoken to right now, they are teaching what they've used, what worked for them, what they've tried and, you know, broken down into the process itself, and they're teaching what works for them. So I really love that because obviously you're doing the same thing, and I love the fact that, you know, we bonded over spirituality and meditations and oracle card read, like all those things. And way back in the beginning when I was still trying to figure out whether I was good enough to do what I thought I was going to do, and you were just this great cheerleader who was like, will you stop second guessing, just go do you. So I really appreciate that because you really do, you know, when you recognize stuff in people, you no holds barred, you are all out, very straightforward, want to see people win, and not everybody wants that. So I'm really grateful for people like you in my corner, for real.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And it's a blessing. Honestly, I just heard someone else say that yesterday. And it just makes, and that's why it's so essential, just as a brand perspective,
Hmm.
to just pushing that philosophy. Like, we have to support each other. And as a woman, if you feel jealous, if you feel, let's talk about chakras, right? If you feel these different low vibrational feelings, just deal with yourself, right? You have
Yeah,
to turn all of that inward and deal with yourself and acknowledge it and see where that source is coming from, because it's going to hinder you from actually recognizing your own light, you know, in some way, shape, or
exactly.
form. Focus is, it's not on you, it's on another woman and putting her down, and that's a problem. You know, like,
Yeah, it's actually, and people don't realize when you see that, it's actually a problem within yourself. It's not the other person's problem at all. You're you're irritated by something you feel a lack of, and that's where that's coming from. So I wish more people would realize that. And obviously with your spirituality bases and your meditation practices, all your guided meditations, they can slowly kind of figure that out. It's a little more gentle than saying the problem is with you. So I appreciate the way you do things. It's a little more gentle, it's a little more loving and nurturing, and that's actually what people need to kind of come around to the fact that, okay, you can't feel this way all the time. There's got to be something you can do, and obviously the only thing you can change is yourself. So I love that. I'm glad you're doing this work.
for sure. Thank you so much. I mean, and then when it comes to one-on-one coaching, obviously I'm a little less, I'm always nurturing and loving when I say things, and I've learned just through life experiences, like through life experiences and having to be a leader, I had to learn how to fire people and do it in a way where they could leave smiling. That also
Yeah,
teaches how to be a good coach and how to tell someone something that's very truthful, that's probably going to hurt if I said it any other way that was unkind,
yeah,
you know, and really
yeah,
allow them that shift and walk away with it and go, wow, like, I am like that. And
hmm,
that is, and how can I work on that? And how can I shift
exactly.
that? And what can I do next? So it's always a blessing to just, like you said, take what you know and give it
Yeah,
back to, and that's why I'm such a firm believer in people and who we are and what you do and what I do, and just cheering people on, because I know that everything that we have to offer is so important. And we
yeah,
get to numbers and who am I impacting? And it's like, if you're impacting one person, think about the one person bands that have changed the world.
yeah,
And we forget that, and we just want numbers, and we want 10K followers, and we want all these other things. And it's like, going back to what you said, when you take an internal and you figure all of that out, everything else just comes. And if it's not coming, you're still happy and you're still grateful and you're still, you know, feel like you're thriving because internally you're good to go.
exactly. And you mentioned, you know, your past experiences, and I mentioned that earlier as well. But I love the fact that everything that you've been through has brought you to this point, and you're using every one of those skills. So the fact that you could run an entire company by yourself in the midst of people who didn't believe you could, you took it and made it better no matter what was going on around you. Like, you continually, like, you use that in your coaching business no matter what happens. And that's something that people need to understand. When you become a coach or you decide to go into business for yourself, you take that collective, you know, knowledge that you've accumulated, hard knock life lessons, all of those things, and then you pay it forward basically. And that's something more people should do. That's where your confidence should come from.
Yeah. Yeah, and just like you said, and just like we talked about in your podcast, you guys check out her podcast. It's amazing. Just like we talk about too, I mean, you kind of also, so you take those things with you that you've learned, but you also get to sit back and say, wow, as confident as I thought I was,
Yeah.
right? As
Mm-hmm.
easy as it was for me to make a bajillion dollars at that jewelry stand that I used to run. Why
Yeah.
can't I make $10 for myself? Like, why is this so hard?
Exactly.
So, I mean, you definitely take the good with you, and you also, especially as entrepreneurs, you have to lean into your faults and where you fall short,
Yeah.
and just recognize those things and work on the consistency of greatness and excellence. And hopefully, I mean, I know you are very much like this, and this is why I love you, which is operating in excellence and really being able to show up and stick to something and just be a consistent person in who you
Yes.
are. That's so important. So I do think there's certain foundations that we need, and when you don't have them, you're going to recognize them once you start running a business, once you start putting yourself out there, even just sharing your story. And even if you don't want to make money off of it, you're going to have things that come up that question, do you believe who you say you are, right? And just getting through those things.
And actually, I'm pretty sure, I don't know about you, but I did. Where I started and where I am now are two different places. And as I went through that transition, I was like, what am I doing? Like, am I really, like, do I really have what it takes? And yeah, I definitely questioned myself. It was a matter of, like, really facing whatever it was that I was getting ready to phase into and wonder if I had what it took, if I was good enough. And that was something I had to answer for myself. It's not going to come from outside. So I had to believe it first before anyone else is going to believe it.
Of course, which is just a blessing to even have that awakening and have that ability to push through it and want to push through it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why I talk about inner game, just like your inner game of what are you telling yourself every day? What are you doing to at least earn courage? You have to earn courage. You have to earn bravery. You have to earn confidence. You have to earn all of that. It's not something that comes and you're like, I'm fearless. It just, you have to do
No, it's a process. It's definitely a process.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, I'm just honored to even, before getting on with you, I just was like, I'm just so honored to know you and talk to you. And even just the experience that you and I both went through and how we met, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a reminder that life is not about the situations. Everybody plays their role, right? It's not about that person did this or they didn't tell me what this was or whatever it was. Because I know for me, the experience, like you said, many experiences, one of your life lessons of 2018 is, am I going to value myself? Am I going to value what I bring to the table undeniably? Not like I value myself, kind of, sort of. I value myself because we all do it. We'll show up with this power and then we shrink.
Yeah.
And then we shrink.
It's a roller coaster, definitely.
And then you're just like, then you have those days where you're like, nobody wants to hear what I have to talk about. And it's really getting to that point where you stop doing that because it hinders how far you go, how quickly it takes you to get there, and just that suffering that we feel of not being where we want to be, but we're blocking blessings, we're blocking that potential ourselves. We're the biggest blockers. So people come into our lives, coaching programs, coaches, situations that make us suffer in some way, come in to just teach us that, so I think definitely having to learn those lessons that way, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, you and I both know it's we feel it, we get upset a little bit, and then it's like, all right, what can I take away from this? Because I don't want to stay in this place where I'm upset the whole time. So that part is like, that's where that mindset shift happens, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Which I feel like is the greatest skill in life, is to, like I said yesterday, I did a live meditation over on Pretty Entrepreneur, and everyone said,
I caught a bit of that.
Oh, yay, thank you.
Yeah.
How do we change? Well, how do we overcome? Healing is in perspective. Healing has nothing to do with, yes, crystals and all these things help. There's different things that you can infused to help. But if you don't believe, and if you don't want to get away from that experience or that thing or
Mm-hmm.
that whatever you're holding on to, you can do all the you can bang drums in a circle and you will not get where
Yeah,
you want
that
to go.
thought process has to change. The thoughts
Yeah,
that you
that's
gravitate towards need to change.
right. That's the very beginning of it. And being able to only pull wisdom from situations and to stop allowing yourself to go into those repetitive circles and those
Yeah.
cycles of unworthiness. And this happened to me, and questioning it, and just overthinking. It's just so many people have an issue with that. And it's like, well, it's just mindset. It seems so hard, and it's mindset. And going back to what I said, consistency, the consistency of meditation. We talked about
Yeah.
meditation. Everybody
Yep.
wants, I close my eyes, I levitate. God comes down and shines the light into my heart.
Sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah, like,
It's
like you,
it's not as dramatic as all that. And people don't, that's what they're waiting for, and then they kind of give up. But yeah, it's a small series of changes that kind of give you more and more peace every time you do it. It's like you kind of like zen out. You kind of balance a little bit. So as much as I would like to levitate, yeah, I've never done that before. So
I totally believe it's possible. It's
oh
not
yeah,
as
I'm not saying it's not. I just haven't gotten there yet.
and all that. I just think capacity wise, humans, just where we're at, we have a long way to go to even
Yeah,
get to that matrix
you do.
bending.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure out there that can do it, but they probably live in caves, by the way. No, it's just really phenomenal teaching and practice, and
Hmm.
whether you're teaching it or I'm teaching it, just meditation in itself, and people that believe in it, to me, I think I always hear people say, it's just not for me. It's just not for me. And I
You
go,
just
okay,
haven't found your way then.
right. You're probably throughout your day. That's guaranteed. Your tongue probably stays at the roof of your mouth, probably most of
Hmm.
your day, right? Your
Hmm.
jaw, shoulders are tight. Imagine that feeling of being relaxed or being able to tune into something that gets you to that point where you are not so much in your mind and you're more in your spirit and
Yeah.
spirituality, right? Spiritual, and being able to be the spiritual being that you are, and not this physical, I'm frustrated, I have anxiety, I have depression, which are real
All
things,
those
but
identifying things, yeah.
right here, we're so much more powerful than that. So that's why meditation to me is just like, I don't care what anyone says. Everyone that says to me I can't meditate, I'm like, okay. Okay, that's what you say. I can get you to meditate, hands
They
down.
can meditate. They just probably don't call it meditating. They probably call it praying, or they probably call it, just chilling by the pool. Like wherever it is where you're calm. I don't know. I don't know how you think about meditation, but for me, it's like wherever I can be still, I'm
Mm,
usually happy because there's no outside influence. There's no weird things going on that I have to obsess with my thoughts about. I am, and that's it. That's all it is. But it's
yeah,
hard to get to that place.
I think you're absolutely right, and it's the stillness. But I think most people suffer because they cannot. It's kind of like how back in the '90s, every kid who was just a kid was getting
Hmm.
diagnosed with ADHD.
Oh my God, yeah.
5, you talk too much, you move too
Everybody
slow.
was on Ritalin. Yep.
Exactly, it was like
Hmm.
Ritalin Nation, right? So it's kind of like, as adults now, with the way of the world, with the way that the brain works, with all the distractions that we're being fed knowingly or unknowingly, we
Yeah.
don't even recognize how uncomfortable it makes us to get still. Before I got on here, I was just thinking, if you turned your phone off for a day and didn't touch it, which I've been doing because I'm getting ready to give birth, and I'm just like,
Yes. You want to
business
be
is,
very present.
yeah, and just for my business, just being more reflective, more intentional. I haven't been on my phone. For
Hmm.
me, it does comfortable because I like being with myself, and I like
Yeah.
even feeling a little bit uncomfortable knowing that I would have been posting, or I have all this to say, and just be like, no, Ebony, like, your season right now, it's winter and you need to chill and you need to just sit
Yeah.
down. You need to just sit down.
You need to take a break. Yeah.
That is the season you're in, and you need to. So many of us fight these seasons that are life, and we want to remain, oh, well, I'm just that kind of person. But seasons are seasons, and if you have to take a step back, it's for the good of who you are.
Hmm.
And like, being still, so many of us don't realize we have a hard time being still. We have a very hard time with being still
Because we're
and
not taught that. I've had a lot of conversations where we keep talking about multitasking. We're taught to multitask. Like, do as much as you can in this amount of time to get it all done. Like, damn,
right.
okay. But none of it gets done very well. It gets done, but just not very well. But what's the point of that? Why would you half-ass anything? Put your whole
Yeah.
ass in it, you know?
But you're right, and we haven't in that school conditioning that's jobs, the
hmm
way jobs are, where you're just balancing so many different things, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like, well, when that emergency phone call comes in, just jobs that I've had where it's like, okay, drop that and go do that, drop
Yeah.
that and go, and then everything's on fire, right?
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
days I working where I'm like, I'm going to
Where you
lunch.
run the whole day? Yeah, from one thing, from pillar to post, you're just running the whole day. I remember
Yeah,
those days.
yeah, and it's not productive, and just being able to, I think, although people may feel the world is like this and there's so many world issues, I always just feel that there's better marketing in the camps of despair. There's better marketing and money behind despair, and that the world is just
It
burning.
sells, unfortunately. Just like sex, it does. It sells. Like, oh my God, panic, go do this now.
Right? Yeah,
Oh
but
my
it's not
God, it's not this superfruit, it's that superfruit. Go get it now.
right. I don't believe that. I believe there's so many amazing things happening. Just even our ability to start infusing, schools that are infusing meditation, schools
Yeah.
that are really taking a step back to not put kids in detention and to make them become more self-aware and
Yeah.
meditate. They're not punishing kids, and we're really taking a different look at where we've been. And I know that it's happening a lot more than we see.
Yeah.
So I think it's even just a blessing to be able to be at a space where we can have these conversations, where we can be this aware. Because just like you and I
Yeah.
can, I'm sure you as well you have an awareness even at 18. I'm sure you were very wise. But to apply it and to like really live
Yeah.
that life, we both lived similar lives of like,
A
what's
little bit of
glamorous
chaos going on, yeah.
belly and freaking shots, you know what I mean? So it's kind of
hmm
like you can have an awareness, but when you get to a point in life and just as a world where we're implementing it and we're sharing this, making these conversations normal, and we keep talking about it and we work
Yes.
and we coach other people, I know that it's happening on such a bigger scale than what we see, and there's so much more hope and faith just in the way of where the world is going than I think people are willing to believe. But that's why it's so essential to tap into your inner self so that you
Absolutely.
stop trying to put out fires. I was that person where I was trying to be this community leader, but internally I just was like, nah, I wasn't right. I
Yeah.
was I was unbalanced. So to really take that within and work on myself, I know that
That's
that's
some of
the
the hardest work you will ever do.
so there's no other way. You have to
Yeah.
work.
You got to go through it.
You do.
Absolutely. But I
Do.
mean, look at us from opposite ends of the world. Obviously, if I was in Virginia, I would have met you by now, but I had to move halfway around the world. But here's the thing. I grew up different from you did. You grew up different from me. We're both talking about the same concept, consciousness and spirituality, and I do it a little bit differently from you. But we can talk about it and not fight and be like, I'm better than you, you're better than me, because we are awake enough to understand everyone's going to find their way, whatever fits best, whatever feels best to them, and that's okay. As long as you're being honest with yourself about what's really going on and you're not out to hurt people, yeah, we can all live together, no problem. Like
Yeah.
all the religions say the same thing. It's just how do
Yeah.
you do it and what feels good to you?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the blessing. You have to really be a horse with blinders on how you look at things.
hmm
It's so essential. And honestly, the conversations that I've been having lately, whether it's about different people, because people are people and people do some things. Like I've
Yeah.
literally just sometimes the messages that I get, I'm like, like, or just, people around you, and just, I always go back to in conversation, everyone's on their own journey.
yeah.
Everyone's at their own pace. Everyone has their own perception. of how they see life. So who am I to judge where they're at? I've
Yeah.
been different. I've seen things differently. I've made bad choices. I've hurt people. I've done crazy things too. I've been at crazy shifts of perspective even as a parent, right?
Yeah.
Parenting is like
Yep.
failing forward every day. Right?
And each kid is different, and yeah.
Uh,
As much as I would like to be different with the next kid, I'm gonna screw up still. There's just no way. I'm just gonna do it.
I even just had to say to myself, you know, this morning, I just was thinking, you know what? Don't even feed into your beliefs of like, I just have to do this and then my kids will be fine. My kids will be so perfect when they grow up, because you just don't. They're their own people with their
Yeah.
karmic journey, their purposes and their life experiences that they have to go through. But
Right.
what are some key things that I want to remain constant about who I am as a mom,
Yep.
so that I'm always supportive and that they can
Hmm.
always come to me, and even if it seems like I'm probably going to chop your head off, you can still talk.
Yeah.
But that's kind of just where my mind's been with them. And then on top of that, just that love, the love, just like, okay, I have to make sure I always give love in all
Yeah.
circumstances, and remember that
While you run a business, so people please understand. Yeah, 3 kids, one on the way, and a
yeah,
business, but she's still doing the damn thing. So yeah, I get it. Being a parent is not easy. There is no manual. We kind of wing it every day. And it's hard to accept. It was hard for me to accept the fact that I'm only one of the many influences in her life. I'm hoping I'm the only one. I'm not. I'm not going to pretend like that's the truth. So yeah, I'm only one of the many influences in her life, and I need to make sure that no matter what happens, that she feels safe enough to come to me and tell me what's going on, and then we can sit down and talk about it. So yeah, it's no joke.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And really just that ability to self-reflection. I think all of this, and awareness and consciousness, all these words are very interchangeable.
Yeah.
um Purpose and their meaning, because they all kind of mean the same thing when
Hmm.
you get to it. And just that self-awareness and that daily self-reflection about your day, about where you could have done better, about experiences that you've encountered. I think self-reflection and having that mindset, going back to meditation, and that ability to really always be able to step back and get still and look at everything as a third person
Yeah,
is just so powerful to where we would like to go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, for everybody who's listening, you have a pretty good sense of who this young lady is. Ebony is pretty damn amazing. But I was wondering if you could explain, what is the heart of your coaching? Where does it all begin for the most part? I mean, I know clients will come to you with a range of different situations that they're trying to get, help and healing on. But what is the heart of it for you?
I would say the heart of it. My elevator pitch, right, is, I consider myself a mindset mentor, giving
Okay.
people power tools to change their inner game so they can achieve outward success.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, your outward manifestations are what prove to you your value. They're what prove to you you're on the right track. They're what prove to you you're aligned. They're what prove to you your beliefs. All these different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We want to see it. We want to manifest it, to say, okay, I've spent 5 years in my business, like, I'm successful. Plus, I spent 5 years and I'm still broke as of day one. And like, right, then you give up, and then you don't
Yeah.
want to keep. So the heart of my business is really based around helping people. It's perspective. My key pillar is perspective,
Okay.
because every single thing that I've gone through, healing comes after perspective. You cannot heal if you're not willing to adopt a
You
perspective.
need to change it. Yes, absolutely. You need to step out of where you are and look at it again from a different angle and see what you really do understand, what's really going on.
Always, so the heart of what I do is really that. And being able to, I only teach what I know. I only teach
Absolutely.
experience, as well as trusting myself enough that, I trust my gifts of intuition. I trust my gifts of insight. I trust my gifts of discernment. I trust my gifts of, if this is on my heart and this is what I feel like I should say, then I'm going to say it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just like I just said, the more we trust, what the outcome of that is. So I do it and I say, okay, I've been called to meditate, to teach people to
Mm-hmm.
meditate. And just that in itself was like, I never thought I would teach people how to meditate. You could have never seen anything in my past other than being a professional voiceover artist, doing commercials. I used to do and record commercials and get paid to do that,
But
right?
that's cool though, yeah. Which means you got the voice.
Yeah, only thing that really to me today says, that's like a sign that you would have been recording something and using your voice and using those tools that you got.
Hmm.
But the key pillar of my business will always be perspective, will always be helping people shift. And how I see it is it's kind of like we're on a mountain and I'm kind of just taking their head, just giving them a little turn. Just look over here. Just look
Yeah,
over here and see things from this perspective. They have to want to come to that mountain with me. They have to be ready,
absolutely.
because
But they
after we,
say, the best teachers, they don't tell you what to see, they tell you where to look.
yes. Oh, they do. That is a quote, right?
Yeah.
Quotes for days. Um, yeah, so that's kind of just really, I embrace that coaching process of not
Yeah.
telling what to do. I'm not telling people, you don't value yourself, that's why you're not making a lot of money. Sometimes we do value ourselves, we just don't know how to do it. We don't have that vision.
Right. And maybe we're projecting something different, even though we may feel it on the inside, it's not coming out the way we want it to. Yeah.
And
It takes a third person to kind of look at it to help
yes,
us. Yeah.
yes. And as a coach, meeting people where they are, knowing when we can't help them at that
Yeah.
time, bad thing, knowing that, maybe where that person is at, and they know it too, whether it's the investment level scares them, whether it's whatever it is, you
Yeah.
can't sell, you don't want to sell yourself as a coach. I don't want to sell myself
Right.
like an buy me now, you need me in your life. I know you do, but really that basis of the perspective shifting, it just means everything to me, because if there's one thing that I've done and I've
Hmm.
done the ability to, I heal, because every single situation, whether it's rape, whether it's being held hostage, whether it's infidelity, all these things that can break down the
Yeah.
soul to the core, the heart of who we are, to
Yeah.
little scattered pieces. And
Hmm.
every is the more that I've chose to use my wisdom and my previous experiences and say, how can I look at this and pull wisdom? You
Yeah.
heal fast. You take personal responsibility and you grab your power back and you thrive. And then you teach that to others so that
Yeah.
they can do, and that's pretty much how I operate.
I love that though. And I wish more people did that. I mean, once they find a way to come out of whatever situation they're in themselves, once they kind of get their sea legs back, for them to pay it forward and to teach other people, that's really the blessing, because it shows people, hey, anybody can, they just got to set their mind to it. That's it. Once you decide, it's almost like everything slowly will come together in a way that you can kind of see your way out of it. You can help yourself along the way a little bit, but you got to decide that you want it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So,
Well, I'm not going to keep you. I know it's kind of early. I wanted to ask, are you more active on Facebook or on Instagram? Where can people find you easily?
so you can probably find me on Instagram more
Okay.
than Facebook. I'm usually sharing what I've shared on Instagram, on Facebook. So Instagram, Queens Recognize Queens, Facebook, Queens Recognize Queens. My website at the moment is still up, although I'm making some business changes, but it is queensrecognizequeens.com. Have a couple blogs up that are very informative. The link in my bio, people can go there. I still have a couple slots open for my free meditation course.
Very good.
Encourage everybody to at least try and learn if that's something you're interested in, especially when it comes to chakra and energy healing.
I would recommend, when you come to energy healing, I would recommend finding as many people who teach it as possible and try all the ways and then figure out which one works best for you. Definitely. So please, she has a free training. What's the worst that could happen? You find one way that you like or you don't like, but you try. Go
Right.
try it. Please try it.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you so much for your time. I
Of
appreciate
course.
so very much and all that you do, and just
It's been a nice long friendship so far. We'll wait to see another 5 years where we are.
yeah, I me to share this with your community, and really, Queens Recognize Queens is all
Yeah.
about that collaboration and not seeing each other as competition and seeing each other as really co-creators.
We're here to help each other. Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, she's based in New York. She does events, well, maybe not in the near future, But soon she'll be back doing events and back doing all her, her lovely speaking gigs and all of that. So please keep an eye on this lady. She's doing big things. Queen Recognized Queens. Wherever you go, just search Queens Recognized Queens. You'll find everywhere that you could possibly follow her. Her podcast, her blogs, her website, her guided meditations. There's not many people that have a heart like yours, and I'm really glad that you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Welcome.
that, world. Well, thank you so much. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for
You guys. Take care.
Yes,
Thanks so much, Ebony. Get some rest, okay? I'll talk to you again soon. Good night.
Bye.